Hello, Rob Cairns here again, and I'm here with the second in my pandemic practice videos. If you haven't seen the first one, that is on my webpage and you can go ahead and have a look at that one. It's about weaving. This second video, I don't know if you can hear it in the background. There is rain which has come into London, and it's a perfect day to kind of just sit back and do some reading. So I have some books here which we're going to have a look at for reading. I teach at Lester B. Pearson School for the Arts, and every year we do a Shakespearean production. So, of course, it's always good to read some Shakespeare. The kids in grade 8, they really like a good tragedy. So I have King Lear as one of the options for reading this afternoon. Anne of Avonlea in the Anne of Green Gables series. If you haven't read any of those, they are Canadian classics, and you really should at some point read one or many of the books in those series, or in that series. Next, flow theory. One of the things that I did is I did my master's thesis on creativity, and this was one of the books that I looked at. It's about the creative experience and what sort of state you are in when you are trying to come up with an idea and working things out. So that's one of the books that I like to have a look at every now and again. And of course, Star Wars, written by William Shakespeare. If you haven't had a chance to look at any of these types of books, they really are quite entertaining to hear the story of Star Wars in Shakespearean language. So, I have my coffee here, so I'm ready to kick back and read because it's raining outside. Hopefully you can hear a little bit of that in the background. Maybe we'll be lucky and hear a little bit of thunder at some point. But I'm also a handbell player, and one of the things that you can be doing is using books for rehearsing at home. Percussionists, when they rehearse at home, they often will have percussion pads, but if they don't, they'll use a book in place of their drum or their percussion pad. Chances are you don't have your mallets at home, but you can use other things. So let's go ahead and get our books arranged. We're going to put them out. Actually, I'll put the bigger ones on the left, just like our bigger bells are on the left. And here we go. We have our 4 books laid out, just like we might have our 4 bells with accidentals. As I was saying, chances are you don't have your mallets at home, but you do have other things that you can use in their place. You could get some spatulas. You could also get wooden spoons to act in place of your mallets. Now, when you have your mallets, you normally hold them partway down the shaft, and you find what's comfortable for you as the balance point for when you are playing. You'll notice I'm playing with 2 mallets. One of the things that I've found with handbell players is they like to get hold of one mallet, and they like to try and do everything with just one mallet. But to become a better handbell player, you really do need to practice with 2 mallets. 2 mallets, and of course they're a little bit heavier on the end where the mallet part is. Let's say you're going to use spatulas. You find where that kind of balance point is for you to use those. Or if you're going to use wooden spoons, again, find your balance point for using them as mallets. In percussion, there are a number of different types of strokes which you use to be a percussion player. We're going to deal with 3 basic strokes which also translate to being a mallet player for bells. There is the single stroke, one note for each hit. There is a double stroke. And there is something called a paradiddle, and that's two single strokes and a double stroke. So it's like paradiddle, 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 paradiddle. And those are the three basic strokes which we can use as mallet players playing our bells. One of the basic things to practice is alternating your strokes. That's something which we all need to do to become better handbell players. And it is something which there are a number of people who resist that. If you look on the page below, I put a number of exercises there with progressing difficulty which you can use to try and become a better mallet player. You don't need your bells to practice this. As a matter of fact, you don't even need these to get really started. You can just use your hands and work on alternating. So a single stroke, a double stroke, and the paradiddle. Paradiddle, paradiddle. Just going back and forth. And practicing alternating your hands. You don't even need the books if you want to do some basic practicing. You can just sit in front of a table and you can imagine where those bells would be, and you can practice alternating your hands and practice the three different types of strokes. The double stroke, and the paradiddle. Those are the three basic strokes which we can use to figure out most of the types of playing that we would be doing with our handbells. So, if it's raining where you are, even if it's not raining where you are, why don't you pull out some books, pull out some mallets, and then do a little bit of practicing to become a better handbell player. Thank you.